so very much for staying with us. It is now time for that conversation that I did promise you, beyond the scars, and today it is beyond the prison gates. Of course, remember to engage us on our Twitter handles at KTN News KE, at Grace Courier KE. I will be happy to sample your feedback, your questions, your comments to my guests who are actually already with me in studio. On my right, I have Bernard Ouma, and my extreme right there is Mr. Fred Indimuli. Both are actually ex-convicts. Festus Indimuli, sorry about that, Festus. Yes, both are ex-convicts, and we'll be getting, to hear their story. Bernard, allow me to start with you. Just take us back to when all this happened and how it did start.
First of all, let me congratulate Zarika for our win yesterday. It was such a good moment for the country.
Yes.
Especially after Kenya lost 1-0 to Ghana.
Exactly.
Back to my question. I was born in Nakuru, raised in Nakuru, then went to school in Nakuru, and only came to Nairobi to join first year when I was enrolled at the University of Nairobi. So during that time, life was not smooth for me. Things were very tough. Then, I used to do some small businesses while in school. Then, when I reached fourth year, a former classmate of mine who had been discontinued recruited me to start keeping for them the firearms. They were gangsters, they used to rob, and after their missions, they will bring the firearms back to my room, whereby I would keep them for a fee. And during that period, all I wanted was good life. I wanted to live life on the first lane, so it made me, that greed for quick money is the one that made me to start keeping the firearms. Yeah. You
said the greed for quick money, so that sounds like you did know this was not right? I
knew.
But you kept on.
I knew it was not good, but just due to greed for quick money, that's why I decided to keep for them. Yeah.
Okay, then what happened after that?
After that, it took like 1 year before the cops were informed, after which they came and laid an ambush at the university hostels. All the 5 suspects of the gang were arrested. And then after I realized that, I ran all the way up to Lokchogyo, stayed there for like 2 weeks. Then I was arrested and brought back to Nairobi, then taken to court, charged with all the offenses that all these other guys had been charged with. Yeah.
Okay, hold it there. Festus, let's hear your story.
Yeah, I was born in Mombasa North, Mombasa North Estate Area 1. And then after that, after finishing my school, I went to work with an Asians. So after 2 to 3 years, I had my friends, whereby I had already trained diving school at Kariobangi, whereby I used to pay 15 shillings and we go around. So after that, they had already recognized me as a good driver. So one day my friend called me, it was on February 14th, 2006, and told me, now we had a trip today and you are going to be our driver today. So we went in town somewhere and then they came with the car. So after that, the driver get out, and then they told me to drive the car. It was around 9 in the evening. So we were going up towards Mombasa Road. So when we reached somewhere at Salama area, the car stopped the engine itself. So we just came out. So after that, we were just hanging around. After about 20 minutes, we saw the policemen came and shouted on us. So they laid us down. And that's where I realized that the car had already robbed with the guys that who came with it. So that's where I found myself in police. And I ran in court, then I was charged with robbery with violence.
Robbery with violence?
Yeah.
And?
I went to prison. I was sentenced to death sentence. Then after that, the Kibaki overturned the sentence, and then I served for life sentence for 2 years. Then I appealed.
Okay.
Then I was acquitted with the High Court.
Okay. death sentence, life sentence and all that, you've said it all, but I want to take you back a little bit to when you were actually arraigned. Here you are in court, and you were just innocently using the matatu, and as you said, it had already been involved, in this robbery. So what was going through your mind when you're now in court, even before the sentence that you got? What was going through your mind?
I was so worried because I had never been arrested. So that time, when we went to police station, we were being questioned with so many policemen came and asked, oh, where did you get the car? What happened to you? But I didn't know what was exactly happened because I was just called and told, let's go for the tour and you can drive for us. So when we went to the court, I was already known that the charge that are going to be charged with. So when I was charged with robbery with violence, I was just a little bit, I was thinking as what is going to happen before, but I just realized that when I went to prison already, after I was convicted, then I had already been cancelled with my friends that I got there. So I was just as if I'm normal. Yeah.
It was okay for you.
Yeah.
At least you had your friends.
I got my friends there whom I used to stay with in Mombasa Road. So we talked to them. They used to come and said, no, you would enter a year too. Yeah.
Okay, we'll be talking about when you are now in after the sentence. But Bernard, let me come back to you, and we left it at where you were now in court and you're being charged. What were the charges? And just as I asked Festus here, what was going through your mind that now you're in court? And remember, you did say that all along you knew what you were doing is not right, right? So now eventually you're here in court. What's in your mind and what are the charges?
Those guys, whenever they used to go for their mission, actually, their main mission was to rob, but at times some of them would even rape the victims, and during certain instances they could even shoot dead the victims. So when I was arrested, these guys had already been charged with robbery with violence, murder charges, and rape charges. So when I was arrested, when I was taken before the courts of law, I was charged with all those offenses, and then including keeping the firearms without certificate. So I had like 27 counts. I was charged in different courts. Some were in Kibera, some were in Makadara, and some in Nairobi law courts. That was because of the jurisdiction. So after my arrest, I was really shocked because before that I'd never even been to a police station. I'd never even been arrested by a cop just to be asked any question. So when I was before the courts, when the charges were being read, I was in great panic because I didn't knew how life in prison is like. So after the charges were read and taken to the prison cells, I remember some of the inmates at the cell telling me that life in prison is very tough, how there are so many things that are just unimaginable that do happen in prison. So I was really scared, and I was just praying my God to help me to be strong so that I come out, in case if I will ever come out, I come out a strong person. Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying life in prison, what you got from your friends is that life in prison is not, really nice, and you're now headed there. But before we even get to you now being in prison, take us through how this was for your family, extended, your nuclear family. How was it for them?
It was a tough moment for them. I was doing engineering. My dad, I'm sure, had very high expectations on me. He was hoping that maybe if I finish the school, if I graduate, I will help my siblings to even achieve their dreams as well. So when I was arrested, my dad was really shocked. He got into depression, and later on, while I was in prison, he succumbed to death. Yeah. So it was really tough for them, especially my dad. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be getting to now your life while in prison, especially now where you mentioned that your dad actually did succumb to death then, and we're sorry about that. First, just let me come back to you. I did ask, what was going through your mind, and at least for you did tell me, your friends were there to encourage you, and it felt like a little home that your friends are now here with you. But again, I ask, how was it for your family, especially now with the charges, robbery with violence?
Yeah, in fact, when he was arrested, my wife was almost to, because she gave birth when I'm the second week into prison. So when I was arrested, my dad just came and took her and all with my belongings and took her home. So it was a difficult time for her and also my dad also, because now they had already shifted to my rural area. So I just remained alone. They were just coming only for the mention, when I'm coming for the mention date, the hearing date. So one of them come, we just talk, and then it was a difficult time to them also, because everyone was still thinking, oh, I've been charged with robbery violence, so on. What's going to happen? I'm going to, if I found guilty, I'm going to be sentenced, death sentence. So they had never heard about somebody being sentenced death in our family. So I was the only person that was arrested with robbery violence and going to be charged with robbery death sentence. So everyone was, hey, wow. So is he going to be killed, or what's going to happen to him? So everyone was just, wow. So even my mom didn't just come even to meet at me, even to see in the court or whatever. She was just at home, she was just listening to what is going to be happening. Yeah.
Okay. I've covered a bit of court cases, and at least I know there's a process before the judge eventually delivers that ruling on a death sentence. So when all this was happening in and out of court, for mentions, for hearings, again, what was through your mind, and did you see this coming? Did you see this death sentence coming?
Yeah, because I had already been because when we were charged for the first time, we were taken to remand in Committee Maximum Prison. And when you reach to Committee Maximum Prison, you will find so many people with the charges with the robbery, violence, murder, and so you just give them the statements that you have been given to court at the first time. So we have also lawyers there who will just comfort you and tell you how you are going to work on this case. And then most of them are going to console you and say, this little, you are just going to win this case. So you just be strong and do this and this. So they were just, each and every time I go, they were just talking to them. And also, I had also a lawyer, but before even I complete my case, I already sacked him, because I saw that he was not going the way that I needed to go. So I just knew at the end of the case is going to, I'm going to get the sentence, because when I was arrested, it's me who was found with the key in my pocket. And it was difficult to me just to explain how, if I should deny the car and the key is in my pocket. So I just knew that maybe the magistrate is going to sentence me, because there's no way I'm going to remove the key in my pocket and to deny the car, that it was not mine, because I didn't know where the car came from. I just realized when he was arrested that this car was robbed from the town. Yeah. When
you say your lawyer was not headed in the direction that you wanted him to, what do you mean?
You see, most of us, when we are in prison, we are just thinking of the case all the time. And when you have a lawyer, in fact, the one that I had that time, he was now, I can say he was now starting to in that farm. So most of the time when I go to the hearing, you see, maybe he's sending someone to represent me. And when she or he comes, you'll not just asking you questions too, then writing on the paper, just exactly on that time. Then you see the way she's responding to the judge, and maybe she's not going the right way that you need to go. So, and just because I've been thinking all this case when I'm in prison all the time, I've been taught with the lawyers that who are in prisons the way that I should ask question to the complainants. So it reached a time whereby I started now just asking questions direct to the complainant without need to him.
Using the lawyer,
yeah.
Right? Okay. You also did mention about your wife delivering. Just take us back to that. When was this? And how was it for you? Because, you know, when your wife delivers, it's a happy moment for both of you. And now you have this on your shoulders. How is it for you? How is it for her? And even the baby. The baby is small, yes, but, you know, they need their dad with them. So how is it for all of you?
She delivered when she has been taken to the rural area with my dad. Then even now it reached a time where, they didn't told me that she has given birth, but I just got an SMS, a report from my friends who is my neighbor. And then I just called them and told them that she should just stay, and my mom should just assist her, because she was not even wanted to listen when even I'm caught. She didn't want to listen what is going through, because she was so much upset about my charges.
Okay. Bernard, let me now come to you. Again, before the sentence, before the 6-year sentence that you got, it's still a process, right? Mentions again, hearings again. And what's going through your mind during this time when you're appearing in court all the time? And do you foresee a sentence? What kind of sentence do you foresee?
Okay, actually, after my arrest, I do remember even the cops at the police stations, because I was arrested in Lokchogyo, then flown back to Nairobi, taken to various police stations because during this time the investigating officers were still conducting the investigation. They were finalizing on that matter. So I remember most of them used to tell me that they are pretty sure that I would eventually come out of prison. So even when I was even charged with all these offenses of rape, murder, robbery, violence, of which they knew very well that I never committed, my sole role in all this saga was keeping the firearms.
Yeah.
So even me personally, I knew that the only offense that would maybe convict me was keeping the firearms without a firearm certificate. So I knew that I would even spend at least a certain number of years, then come out in prison. So I wasn't that worried, but the only thing that worried me a bit was the fact that these firearms had been used to kill people. These firearms had been used to commit robbery with violence. At the same time, you find that whenever a firearm has been recovered and it was proved to have committed an offense, then the person who is found in possession of it is also liable to face or maybe to get the same sentence. So that was my big worry. But when I was in prison, I came to understand that my role was just a small role. But eventually, I was sentenced to 5 years in prison. It was a charge of robbery with violence, but then the magistrate dropped it to a lesser charge of being in possession with firearm. So she convicted me for 5 years in prison.
5 years.
After which I appealed. At the same time, before a different court, I had been charged with an offense of keeping the firearms without a certificate. So when I appealed, I used that ground to appeal the sentence. As in, how could I be charged with a similar offense before 2 different courts? So when the appellate judges heard about that, I was acquitted, as in the sentence was quashed, and then I was set free. But now, unfortunately, I still had some other matters pending before the courts, so I couldn't leave immediately. So that's why I spent some more years before coming out.
Okay. Yeah. Even before now we get to you being acquitted, and even actually before the sentence, where were you being held?
I was at Committee Maximum Prison.
At Committee Maximum Prison. So now I want us to, we'll get to after the sentence later, but now when you're being held at committee, your first day at committee, even before your sentence, how was it for you? With all the stories that you'd had about prison, because you did say that you had from your friends that life in prison is not easy. So now here you are, Bernard, in committee. we all know the stories that we hear about committee. So how is it for you?
It was a tough moment. I had heard about Sodom in prison, and even one of the prison escorts who took me from the police cells to prison cells informed me that in prison Sodom is there, and that I have to be cautious about that. So on my first day in prison, I remember very well that most of the block in charges, because each block has an in charge. So I do remember very well that like each of them wanted me to go to their respective blocks. So I was wondering, why are these people trying to lure me to go into the blocks? Then finally, I was taken to Block E. While there, I just wanted to see where my co-accused persons were, because they're the only person that I knew during that time in prison. So I just wanted to be near them to feel, at least to feel safe. Yeah. So unfortunately, where they were staying, all the rooms had been locked by that time. It was around 7 p.m. So I was just taken to a different room. On this particular room, at around midnight, actually I don't even think that I slept that night. So at around midnight, a guy woke up, because you know how those blocks are. Inside the room is where you do everything. As in, if you want to go to the loo, as in you just use that single room for everything. So at around midnight, a guy woke up, and then I just threw away my blanket to make him know that I'm not sleeping. He stood up, and then he removed his shorts. So I started imagining that maybe this is the moment for them to start to maybe do whatever they wanted to do to me. Then the guy turned the short inside out, and then he started looking at it closely. Little did I know that this guy was just looking for lice, because they had beaten him to an extent that...
Looking for what?
Lice.
Or lice?
Yeah.
Oh.
Shower.
Yes, shower.
Yeah. So, alikuwa amelemewa to an extent that he couldn't even sleep. So he was looking for them one by one, killing them, using his fingers. After that, he went back to his space and then continued to sleep. So I kept awake until early morning when the doors were opened for us to get out and get our breakfast. So that particular night was like, it was a nightmare for me. Yeah.
But now when you see all this, I mean, someone is turning their short and looking for lies. Are you thinking I could be next in doing this?
Okay, but during that time, I think there were many lies. They were everywhere. And at times you could think that maybe the prison cops would come at night and just throw maybe a tin of them inside the cells. Because you would kill one or even two, then within after a few minutes, you find some also trying to maneuver their way on your body. So on this particular night, after these guys killed the few that I think he found, he went back to his place, and then I just kept awake until morning. Yeah.
Okay. Told me need to take a short break. Festus, I'll be back with you, especially now life in prison. Did you have the same experience that Bernard did? I would like to know that. But we want to take a short commercial break. Do stay with us. Remember to continue engaging us on our social media handles at Grace Courier KE, at KTN News KE. I'll be happy to sample your feedback, your questions, your comments to my guests in studio. Do stay with us.